Folks, that's it. The PC Master Race is officially over. Sony and Microsoft's 9th generation consoles have been teased ahead of their holiday 2020 release, and we now know roughly what you can buy and how much they're going to cost. Even with some galaxy brain mathematics, it's hard, even impossible, to see how PCs can compete from a price to performance standpoint. My name's not important. I'm here to tell you, it's time. Time to donate your gaming rigs to Goodwill, cancel your subs to budget build YouTubers, and get on the console hype train. Wait a second. Loophole! PS5 and Xbox Series X look to offer some serious power for surprisingly reasonable asking prices, and I don't think anyone in the PC gaming community can convincingly argue against the facts. As I write this in mid-September, AMD's latest graphics cards, derived from the same architecture as will be found in the new console generation, are still under wraps. Until then, the closest a PC graphics card can get in performance to a PS5 or Series X is one of the AMD RX 5700 series, or something like an Nvidia RTX 2070. Either of which is going to cost most users almost as much as a console, before you even have a PC to put it in. Microsoft, however, has thrown us budget PC builders a bone. The Xbox Series S is a cut-down next-gen console, small enough to carry in a backpack, yet heavy enough to act as a boat anchor for console game developers. According to those with greater access and resources than noobs like me, Series S is going to offer roughly Xbox One X level graphics performance, and this makes the Series S a known quantity. We can match this performance, and thanks to the crypto mining craze that made life so difficult in 2018 and 2019, we can almost do it for a reasonable price. The One X used Polaris architecture, as seen in the Radeon RX 400 and 500 series cards. Older models of these cards, stripped out of crypto mining rigs, can be had for about £100 on the used market. By shopping around further, it's possible to scrape together a first-gen Ryzen or older Intel-based system, along with a 4GB RX 470 or 480, and still remain within a £250 budget. If you don't mind fudging with power adapters and potentially bending some metal, you could even cram one of these cards into an old office workstation and be coming close to Series S performance for under £200. Hell, there's even the possibility, given the falling price of flash memory, that you could get yourself a decently capacious SSD to boot. Pun intended. But, hold on. Before we all go congratulating ourselves on a job well done defeating the console peasants, there are still some questions to be addressed. If you're actually interested in a budget gaming machine, this is all pretty sound advice. You're welcome. However, if you're more interested in winning arguments on the internet, this recommendation has flaws. What about ray tracing? One might reasonably ask. Well, what about it? We don't really know how 9th gen consoles are going to implement RT yet. Developers like Crytek have worked out software solutions that do a pretty impressive job of combining RT visual effects without crippling performance loss. And there's always the wild fantasy that AMD have some trick up their sleeve that will make RT more democratic. But the reality of it is, until at least next month, we don't really know if RT hardware is going to become attainable to the PC gaming masses. Moreover, real-time RT as a reality is still pretty young technology, and we don't really know how big of a deal it's going to be in gaming. I'm also aware that the processor in the new consoles is another pretty big deal. 8 cores and 16 threads are specs that PC enthusiasts are only recently used to seeing in the mainstream, and it's entirely possible that game development will shift to favour CPUs in a way that they never needed to in the past. I'm not in the business of speculation. As a wise puppet once said, always in motion, the future is. The biggest advantage a PC has is its adaptability. It doesn't take a soothsayer to predict that prices on current mid-range and high-end computer components are going to drop. AMD and Nvidia in particular don't seem adverse to making seismic product announcements that have a far-reaching impact on the value of existing hardware, whether we like it or not. Based on the model established by the 8th gen, Microsoft and Sony hope to influence console owners to upgrade about once every 2 to 3 years. The PC community, however, are more likely to upgrade specific components much more frequently. A budget build today can support upgrades tomorrow. I'm working on a pretty awesome £250 build right now, with plenty of potential for upgrades. You might want to subscribe and hit the bell if you're interested in seeing how that plays out. In the meantime, check out my latest video where I trade in a graphics card for a whole system. Kindly do the usual YouTube things if you feel so inclined, and I'll see you next time.